Before the IRS lock you up for filing the 12411 process, and before you have to read over 1,600 pages of the Black's Law Dictionary, I'm going to give y'all the shortcut. One, it's absolutely pseudoscience and spooky for you to think that you do not have to pay taxes because of the type of income you receive. Not in the United States of America. Keep in mind, gangsters make this world go around. Imperialists took over everybody's nation. The IRS is part of the United States. The IRS got this thing like this. They don't care if you get paid in eggs, chickens, gold, silver, fiat money, whatever. If you make income, they want in. Remember the movie that I don't care if it's a nickel bag, I want in. That's how the IRS is moving. If you think for 1 second, don't forget, that's what Al Capone thought. He's like, oh, this is, I don't have to pay tax. They like, the IRS thing is, they don't care if it's street money, hustlers' money, that boy or the girl, they don't care. If you make income, you must pay taxes on that income. Otherwise, they'll come and they'll freeze your bank account. They'll seize your property, your paycheck, garnish your wages. That's the reality of it. You have to pay the taxes. Everything else is some spooky stuff. Now, there's legal ways you can avoid taxes, reduce taxes, and that's a whole separate thing. But I want you to understand, stop thinking that you do not have to pay taxes if you got gold certificates or silver and all this other pseudo stuff. Listen up, family. I'm making this just a little short something just to share with y'all real quick. To see the full video, make sure you go over to #NOI report to see the details. Peace, peace, family. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Shalom, hotep. Assalamu Allah. Peace is the nature of the original people. I'm your brother and struggle brother, Minister Alif Allah. And today we're going to cover a little pseudoscience. We're going to give y'all a shortcut. I don't want you to think you got to read the whole entire Black's Law Dictionary, but we're going to cover the mythology and the spookism that basically teaches that if you file your taxes with certain types of money, you do not have to pay taxes on that money or income. It's a misunderstanding. Some people misunderstand it. Some people understand it, but they just straight out lying. But we're going to get into this. First thing you have to do to try to understand something is understand the language. Like if the IRS is saying income is taxable, you need to understand, what do the IRS mean when they say income? Do they mean fiat money? What if my income is from my grandfather's old money from when they had gold-backed currency and silver-backed currency? The IRS like, hold it. We wouldn't care if you had cowrie shells, seashells from the Native American Indians, if you had income from some salt you got from the Africans, if you traded some eggs or some chickens and cows, some sheep. You can trade tools, muskets, weapons, animals' fur, animal skins. All of that was considered money. They like, if you receive 3 alligator skins, you got to pay taxes on those 3 alligator skins. The European powers actually went to war and destroyed ships because you had pirates and sailors that illegally was using human cargo, our ancestors, slaves, which was considered income. And if you didn't pay taxes on the slaves you kidnapped, that was a crime for white people. That's how extreme paying your taxes are. So we're going to look at, I'm not going to read the mumble jumble, the long version. I'm going to give you all the short version of all this stuff. All right? This is the age of social media. I know your attention span is real short. All right. By definition, income. You got to ask yourself, what is income? Is income fiat money? Is it, on the gold standard, the silver? None of that matters. All that is irrelevant. I mean, it's like, it's so much pseudo stuff with this stuff. It's just absolutely spooky. I remember going to a smart money class and the teacher explaining to us a real basic principle that I like to share with y'all. He explained that if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. I mean, it's like, don't you think everybody would be not paying taxes if you could just switch the currencies around and be like, oh, I got, gold, I got silver. No, I don't go like that. All right. Income, the return in money from one's business, labor, or capital invested, gains, profits, salary, wages, etc. I'm not saying etc. Black's Law Dictionary, the judicial system, the IRS, the government, they say etc. Like, we'll be there all day explaining what is income. Everything can be income. Anything can be. They don't care if you dance at the club, if you hustling on a corner. Income is income. Those of you that's from the belly of the beast, income could be a kite. What we mean by a kite? A pack of tobacco. Income would be a pack of Newports. Income would be like, you'd be like, oh, I owe Big Booker down the hall some money. Oh, Booker like, oh, where's my taxes? Where's my money? Oh, I ain't get my money order yet. I ain't get my check. My money ain't clear. This, that, the other. Oh, man, I ain't got no money. Big Booker like, your wedding ring is money. Your watch is money. Your chain is money. I mean, what you mean? Them cosmetics, that soap, them deodorants, them lotions, pay me. That's how gangsters move. If you don't understand that, they wouldn't care if it's underground, above ground, if it's some street stuff. Income is, and you'd be like, yo, you owe me. Like, you'd be like, you're not going to be talking about, oh, I owe the Connect 300,000 and 10 of them things, but I ain't got it. But you driving around in a Rolls Royce or a Maybach, they like, that car is income. Run that in. What? Your car is income. I'm taxing your car. We understand that on the street. How can we not understand that on social media? Like, come on with the spooky stuff. All right. The major case that Black's Law Dictionary cites is the Goodrich versus Edward case. I ain't going to get into legal mumble jumble. The true increase in amount of wealth which comes to a person during a stated period of time. That which comes in or is received from any business family, above ground, under. They don't care. You made income. They don't care if you gambling. You be like, oh, grandmom hit the lottery ticket. If grandmom don't pay them taxes on that lottery ticket, they gonna garnish grandmom's stuff. They gonna lock grandma up. That's the reality of how this thing works. That which comes in or is received from any business. Now you have to look at, what do the word any mean? Any business. What do business mean? Any business. They be like, what you mean? Yeah, we saying a girl hustling herself, that's taxable. I mean, you fix cars in the hood, that's taxable. You went to Walmart and got a pair of clippers and you cutting hair in your house, that's taxable. I'm not saying you should pay your taxes or you shouldn't pay your taxes. I leave all that up. I just want you to understand the legal aspect of it. If you're doing any business, they like, yo, they be like, the IRS is like, shorty, you selling lemonades, where's the breakdown? Now, like I said, there are some legal ways around it, in this video, I'm not getting into the legal parts of how I'm looking at the illegal part, because there's a lot of pseudoscience and spooky stuff running around. Different brothers and sisters I know. This is like the 7th person I heard over the last year asked about the same thing. So I'm like, oh, this people really believe this spooky stuff. Let me touch on this real quick. Now, I mean, say the little child got sick and died, and the family started a 501c3 nonprofit, and they selling lemonades. They ain't got to pay no taxes. It's a nonprofit. I mean, say you got your LLC off the ground. You work in this, that, and the other. You do security at the mall. Your uniform, aka FOI uniform, MGT uniforms are tax write-offs. My wife been a nurse for over 30. She retired now, but she been a nurse over 30 years. Her nursing uniforms, her nursing shoes, and I do the taxes. Like, no, that's tax deductible. That's part of your uniform. You need your uniform. You see, we got different. We got F1, F2, F3 in the nation. We come casual. We come our suit and bow ties, our FOI uniforms, whatever. Uniforms are tax exempt. The IRS is like, we ain't got no problem with that. They be like, Alif, you're tax exempt. You're a minister. You got your 501c3 status, whatever. Now, I mean, like, I'm in my house, but I have a finished basement. My basement is an actual studio. I'm sitting in my home office. This is tax exempt, family, legally. So I'm not saying that there's not some knowledge mixed with the truth. I'm saying beware the tricknology. The trick bonded to the knowledge is where you get messed up at. That's where you get in trouble at. Now, I mean, the IRS is like, yo, we understand Donald Trump, his daughter, his sons, his son-in-law, they legally is using all kind of legal tax loopholes. We need to study that stuff. We need to understand the language. Be like, oh, that's how you do it legally. I mean, oh, okay. The sisters in the hood got all these children. This is how, when I do the 1040 form, I do the child tax credit. Oh, that's legal. They be like, oh, this ain't a fake. They got the real name, the real social security number, the real data. As long as you do it the way the IRS say you're supposed to do it, you can't get that from me. You got to go on irs.gov. Get with a professional tax preparer. I mean, you can holler at me, inbox me at ministeralif@gmail.com for questions, comments, or suggestions. Go on my web. We got a whole business section over there. Go on noireport.online for some information. So, consider it pseudoscience, if you will, that you can basically switch from fiat money or promissory notes, like, you get $1, the $5 bill, $10, and, you see the green seal on it. Then you look at the old money, you see, oh, it's different colors on theirs. I mean, like, they got red on this one. They got blue on here. I mean, this backed by gold, this backed by silver. No, it don't work like that, fam. It does not. Now, I mean, you cannot take and be what they call tax exempt based on the type of income you receive. The IRS thing is they tax your income, plain and simple. They don't care if that income is Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. It's a lot of pseudo spooky stuff out there. If you got stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whatever, it's all kind of legitimate things that people do. But what's happening is people is mixing lard with the bean pie. I mean, like, who put pork in my bean pie? Like, no, you can't mix the tricknology with the real knowledge, because you're going to have us confused. I mean, you're going to have the devil knocking on my door. I mean, you don't have the devil kicking in my door. So you got to understand it's real simple, family. If you don't pay the IRS will pay you a visit. I know people, I'm telling you, I know people that things look sweet. And that's they know. They go to that bank account, swipe that card. I mean, they lock the card in the machine. Like, you don't even get the card back. Like, what's going on? Go inside the bank. Yo, my card ain't working or whatever. My check bounced. They be like, oh, the court froze your account. You guys, what you mean they froze my account? All that money, where's my money? Oh, we don't know what's going on. We get the bank manager, like, we get that thing from them big boys, the IRS and the courts. We just a bank. I mean, we under the central bank. We gonna do whatever they tell us to do. So if they like freeze that account, we froze your account. I mean, so it's a lie that you can redeem, what they call it, you redeem it or use lawful money. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. And I know many of our spooky people believe anything. You cannot write or stamp on a check that somehow you're going to redeem it in lawful money pursuant to 12, section 411. They wouldn't care what you stamp or write on that check. They looking through all the smoke and mirrors. It's like, where are your taxes? Where's that tax money at? You ain't pay Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam coming for you, family. Don't believe the hype as publicly told us. What they going to do? They going to first be real nice. It's like this how gangsters moves. First, they ask you. Then they tell you. Then they make you. See? So you may start off with, something simple like a little letter like, yo, we see you file some frivolous nonsense. I mean, forget all that. Where that money at? I mean, you ignore them. It's like, we increasing how much you owe them. I mean, you're getting penalties and fees, and they might audit you. I mean, you might get a fine. They'll put you behind in prison. They'll lock you up. They'll take your money. They will not. They'll take it. They'll take your property. That's the reality of it. I mean, so don't think that your income is not income because of the type of income you receive. Don't think that you can write on your 1040 tax report that you got a certain type of money and the IRS going to be like, oh, shucks, our bad. Partners, Miss and Mr. Brilliant. Y'all don't have to pay no taxes. And here's some money. We're gonna send y'all a check. We're gonna send y'all the IRS Statue of Liberty rainbow check. You know what I mean? As a tax refund. Y'all cash that, get y'all cash, get that money. They like, no. We're going to either gonna get our money or we're gonna get you. That's how this thing works in America, family. Okay. Legally, according to Black's Law Dictionary, it defines what titles are. And you'll go in here, you'll see it's all kinds of titles. Know what I mean? But in brief, we're going to summarize Title 26 of the U.S. Code. In ghetto language, the IRS under Title 26 says, you better get my money. Paying them taxes is mandatory under Title 26. You have no constitutional rights and protections, all this pseudo-science and sovereignty and all this other spooky stuff. You being a sovereign citizen don't mean anything to a gangster. It's like you know how many sovereign people have lost their nations. I mean, like the Native American Indians were sovereign. The African kings and chiefs were sovereigns. Muammar Gaddafi was a sovereign. Saddam Hussein was a sovereign. United States imperialists don't care if you are a sovereign. They like, do you have an army more fierce than mine? Do you have superior weapons than the Romans or the Greeks? The Hittites, the Hyksos. They be like, if you don't have a better battle axe, when Genghis Khan and them come and they come with them whacks, you know what I mean, riding horses bareback. If you don't have a stratagem to repel your ops, they like your sovereignty means absolutely nothing to them. They be like, oh, what you mean? They be like, now if you got nuclear bombs, if you link up and you got the balance of power, like Israel being backed by the United States, that gives them power around all them Arab nations. I mean, if you have an alliance, like if you got Russia backed by China, United States like, oh, well, we could beat China. United States like, oh, it'd be vicious, but we could beat Russia. But if Russia and China got an alliance, United States like, we can't beat China and Russia. With China's army and technology and Russia's military, United States be like, no, we would lose militarily. Generals understand what I'm talking about. People that's militarily minded, y'all get this. Now, I mean, you know, but you got to understand when it comes to this money thing, I mean, money makes the world go round. The Bible warned us, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You see? So what you got to try to do is find some balance in all this stuff. So you got to be like, okay, like, you know, the Old Testament basically like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. You pay taxes, I mean tithing, you know, 1/10 of your corn. You can't be like, oh, I don't pay tithes. Why? I got gold. Like the Lord said, you pay your tithes. I don't care if it's corn, you got some lambs, you got some chickens, you got gold, you got silver. You pay 1/10 of that belongs to God. You know, if you Muslim, 2.5% of that belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the poor, the needy, and the wayfarer, the Rasulullah. Sallallahu Islam. I mean, so it's a thing where they like Jesus, like, love is charity. You can't love God and you ain't paying no money. I mean, it's like, no, faith without works is dead up in the state. I mean, so wherever you go, Nation of Islam, the ministers can't operate without your support. How they going to keep the lights on? It costs money for Wi-Fi, for cameras and mics and travel expenses. Stuff costs money. So there's always some type of economic system. It may be a bartering system. You could be on an island and, you know, they'd be like, oh, you found a floating old soda bottle. That bottle is money. We on the island. They on the island. They like, yo, I tell you what, I'll give you all these coconuts and all this fish for that bottle. I mean, because they could take that bottle and use that bottle to, you know, drink water, if it gets fresh water, put that, you know, coconut water in there, drink it, just chill, you know, whatever. They could cook with the pots, make it into a cooking pot, what have you. Now, I mean, so the form of the money, when it comes to bartering, is not relevant. That's not even an issue. So the IRS is looking at people filing all this stuff, talking about their income was paid in gold or silver, and that therefore they don't owe no tax. They like, yo, we gonna come lock y'all up. Like, no, who told y'all that nonsense? Don't believe the nonsense, family. You know what I mean? Everything is real. Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam. Messenger Elijah Muhammad seen that become a problem in the Nation of Islam. So he actually had to publicly publish in Muhammad Speaks newspaper, pay your debts. I mean, his thing is like, Allah and his messengers don't approve of you of going out and making debts and not paying your debt. He said, pay your debts or do not make them. Why? The Bible was debt is slavery, family. I mean, it's like, yes, I personally like, yo, you're supposed to get money, make it happen. I ain't spooky. I mean, we're supposed to have peace of mind and contentment, moolah, money, cheddar, good homes, friendships in all walks of life, heaven on earth for us. I mean, you know, a land of milk and honey. Dead people don't drink milk. Dead people don't put honey in that tea. Living people need a land with milk and honey. Living people like gold streets and pearly gates. I mean, you get gold from out the rivers and the rocks and mountains. You get pearly gates because the sand get inside those oysters and clams under the sea, and that friction they build and turn it into a perfect pearl. But there's no magic with any of that. It's all mathematics. It's all based on cause and effect, actions and reactions, family. Now, I mean, the United States of America, they went off the gold standard back in 1933. Now, keep in mind, you got World War I and World War II jumping off, all right? So back in 1933, they went off the gold standard. Now, Nixon, the messenger talk about in the fall of America, how they went off the gold and silver standard. In fact, let me see if I can find that for y'all real quick. Okay, I dug up an oldie but goodie. 1973, The Fall of America book by Messenger Elijah Muhammad. He wrote a chapter titled The Decline of the Dollar. He said, and I quote, "The stronghold of the American government is falling to pieces. She has lost her prestige among the nations of the earth. One of the greatest powers of America was her dollar. The loss of such power will bring any nation to weakness. For this is the media of exchange between nations. The English pound and the American dollar have been the power and beckoning light of these two great powers. But when the world went off the gold and silver standard, the financial doom of England and America was sealed. The pound has lost 50% of its value." Now, keep in mind, this is back in 1973. These numbers absolutely is way worse in 2020. This is May 2025. So the numbers is, in fact, I see my little personal notes. Back then when I was just taking my little notes, the debt was only 14.3 trillion. It's like over 30 trillion now. Now, I mean, let's move on. The pound has lost 50% of its value. America's dollar has lost everything now as power backing for her currency, which was once backed by gold for every $5 note and up. Now, part of the hustle, if you will, they show you a $5 bill backed by gold, or they'll show you a $5 bill backed by silver. All right, family, if you got a $5 gold bill or a $5 silver, it's worth more than the paper is printed on. It's like if you got a sterling silver dollar bill, Kennedy dollar, you're not going to spend that or pay taxes with that. You're going to trade that in. That's where you're going to hold that. I mean, that's worth money. I mean, but let's go on. All of the currency was backed by silver from a dollar note up. But today, the currency of America is not backed by any sound value, silver or gold. The note today is something that the government declares they will give you the value in return, but does not name what that value is. But they definitely are not backing that currency with silver or gold. This is the number one fault. And it is very clear that the loss of the power of the American dollar means the loss of the financial power of America. What will happen since there's no sound backing for notes? We do not know. What should we expect even in the next 12 months under the fall of the power of America's dollar? This means that we have 100% inflation. What could happen under 100% inflation? Your guess is as good as mine. The power of gold and silver was once abundant in America, But the touch of the finger of God against the power of so mighty a nation has now caused the crumbling and fall of America. We can easily and truthfully liken the fall of America to the prophetic symbolic picture given in the Bible, Revelation of John chapter 18, verse 2. The name Babylon used there does not really say whether it is ancient Babylon or a picture of some future Babylon. The description it gives is as follows, quote, "And he, angel, cried mightily with a strong voice with authority, saying, Babylon the great is fallen and is become the habitation of devils. A law has declared the people to be a race of devils, and the whole of every foul spirit in a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." The description here give to the Babylon of the prophets compares with the present history and people of America and their fall. The picture shows the cause of her fall. All praises due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, we're in an era where President Trump literally, still thinking with the imperialist, white supremacist mentality, thinking that the world is ran by borders and religions and races and sexes. It's like, yo, somebody wake the president up. Please get that man a cup of coffee or something. I mean, it's like you can't put tariffs on the world and think that's going to work out good. No. I mean, we're living in an age, it would have worked back in, say, the 40s and 50s, whatever. We're in an age of technology. Poor countries don't need powerful imperialist nations to do for them what they could do for themselves now. So all these African nations waking up. Yeah, you got the president of South Africa. He comes to Trump trying to, this hand in hand, the Bible teaches about the rich man and Lazarus begging at the rich man gate and all that kind of stuff. It's like, but President Ibrahim, other African nations say like, man, forget Trump. we're going to import and export with our African neighbors, with China, with Russia, with Brazil, with Europe. It's a big world out there. Everybody's hustling. I mean, so America got to understand, you're supposed to be the beacon of unity. The smart thing is like, you're supposed to be like, oh, we're going to front before the world like, yo, look at us. We used to have blacks in slavery, but look, we giving them reparations. we giving them land, like down below. He said, give us a couple of these states. Like, yo, we're going to break y'all off. Oh, we're going to stop this war between Israel and the Palestinians, and we're going to have a two-state solution. And, take the walls down. I mean, it's like, y'all not the illegal immigrants coming from Mexico. It's like, this y'all land. Y'all the Native American Indians, y'all Taino Indians and all. Y'all Afro-Indians, y'all African Indians. Like, Europeans came over here and stole all this. The English, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Spaniards. The Europeans are the illegal immigrants that came and stole, and they took and put their faces on pieces of paper and said, this is going to be the money. And this building is going to be the racial institution that's going to collect or extort the taxes. This is how this stuff really happened. Might makes right. I know Jesse was like, right makes, not in the devil's world, not in reality. So we got to understand again, we got to understand the reality of how this thing go. Now I'm going to give y'all the, I want to share with y'all two brief cases. I'm not even going to get into the whole long cases. I'm going to just give you the ghetto version, the short version, if you will. United States versus Sullivan. This is an IRS case. This is people that wasn't paying, thought they didn't have to pay taxes. The Sullivan case is from back in 1927, U.S. Supreme Court. U.S. versus Sullivan. Basically, the crux of the result was this. The court explained they don't care if it's dirty money. They don't care if it's hustlers' money. Income that you earn, you must pay taxes on it. They wouldn't care if you got an illegal speakeasy selling moonshine. They wouldn't care if you got an illegal poker game, if you on the corner playing dice, if you selling that stuff, you flipping them things. If you ain't paying taxes on that income, they not just coming for the criminal stuff, they coming for the IRS money. They like, oh no, that's a separate joint. Yeah, it's the indictments and all that stuff, the state time and the county time and the federal time, that's separate. They also going to fine you. They also going to penalize you. They also going to seize your assets. They going to take your baby mama stuff. They going to take the stuff you got in your mom name. They taking stuff you got in the children. They like, no, we don't care if it's illegal money, it's still taxable in the United States. All right. The other case is from 1986, but it's the U.S. Supreme Court, United States versus the Schiff. They explain people that's filing stuff with the IRS saying that they don't have to pay taxes. I'm going to give you the two main words that they use to how they interpret sovereign filings. The argument is, quote, either is preposterous, or the other word they use, two words, is, quote, utterly meritless. Meaning the IRS and the U.S. Supreme Court is like, that stuff y'all filing on 12-411 process, they like, get this bull crap out of here. Go to jail. Don't pass go. Do not collect $200. This is the reality of the world we live in, family. So, remember, only the messenger's message is going to guide us through this age of mess. For now, the struggle continues. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods. Peace to the goddesses. Before the IRS lock you up for filing the 12-411 process, and before you have to read over 1,600 pages of the Black's Law Dictionary, I'm going to give y'all the shortcut. One, it's absolutely pseudoscience and spooky for you to think that you do not have to pay taxes because of the type of income you receive. Not in the United States of America. Keep in mind, gangsters make this world go around. Imperialists took over everybody's nation. The IRS is part of the United States. The IRS got this thing like this. They don't care if you get paid in eggs, chickens, gold, silver, fiat money, whatever. If you make income, they want in. Remember the movie that like, I don't care if it's a nickel bag, I want in. That's how the IRS is moving. If you think for 1 second, don't forget, that's what Al Capone thought. He's like, oh, this is, I don't have to pay tax. They like, the IRS thing is, they don't care if it's street money, hustlers' money, that boy or the girl, they don't care. If you make income, you must pay taxes on that income. Otherwise, they'll come and they'll freeze your bank account. They'll seize your property, your paycheck, garnish your wages. That's the reality of it. You have to pay the taxes. Everything else is some spooky stuff. Now, there's legal ways you can avoid taxes, reduce taxes, and that's a whole separate thing. But I want you to understand, stop thinking that you do not have to pay taxes if you got gold certificates or silver and all this other pseudo stuff. Listen up, family.